Mittens! You wanna say hello? Ooh. Say hello! Hello? Welcome back. Hello. Yes, hi. I love you too. Sorry if her purring is loud. She wants affection and I can't deny her. Okay, where are we at? Oh, I finished my outline for the thriller novel, which I don't have a title for. It'll come to me eventually, in a dream, hopefully. The goal is to try to write my long fic as well as the novel at the same time. We'll see if I can manage that. I really want my long fic to be done by the end of the year, so then I can just hone in on the books that I know will actually end up getting published. I've written 700 words-ish for that first chapter. It's a first draft, so like, it's not great, but it's nice to not be worried about perfection in a draft. I'm just gonna start word vomiting all over it and we'll see what happens. Don't scratch my suitcase! How dare you! Okay, I need to return a library book, get the next book in the series, go to a little coffee shop to write, and then I don't know what happens after that. There's gonna be 5 acts. They're not gonna be very long, just that was the best way to split them up in my head. And I want this first one done probably by November, honestly. I need to just get in the zone, I guess. I want to end it so bad, but I can't. I can't! I love editing, but I can't. Look what I got. Isn't it so cute? Man, I'm tired. Last night I stayed up trying to write and failing, but I'd already written like 400 words, so like, whatever. And the night before that, I stayed up watching the Seattle Storm beat Los Angeles Aces, which was great to watch. They were like 10 points behind for so long, and they made a great comeback. Skylar Diggins is so cool. I have things to do today. I have things to do all the time. But I especially have things to do this week, so I don't know how much writing I'm gonna get done. We'll see how that goes. I have a bone to pick with this series. I was like, oh, everyone talks about how great the Warrior Cats series is, and you know, it's like middle grade YA-ish, so it should flow easily, it shouldn't be very dense, easily to digest, a little light thing for me to read while I write the monstrosities that I'm currently writing. But this series is dark, like what? I was not like there were a lot of good things that happened. I won't spoil anything, but there were a lot of things that both surprised— hello, Mittens. Please don't touch— okay. There were a lot of things that both surprised me and impressed me just by— how do I give an example without spoiling anything? One of the cats has to choose between her kits and getting a position, and I was like, why does that feel like such an allegory for like women choosing family or career? It's the little things like that, you know? But also these cats sometimes have some really gruesome deaths, and I'm just like, I've cried enough already. I'm halfway through this last book of the first arc, and I'm just like, how many times am I gonna cry before I'm finally done with the entire series? There's still books being published, actually, so This series is just never gonna end. I'm just gonna be forever crying. The duality of man is happening right now in my writing, because on one hand you've got my fanfic, which we're taking like a bit of a break right now from all the dark stuff to focus on the romance between these two characters, and one of them hasn't caught feelings yet, but the other one is like falling very gently, gracefully, like Mary Poppins, and it's really cute and sweet. And then there's Kaze and Aki in my YA thriller where they're trying not to die. That's the book pretty much. It's just two boys try not to die. They're facing the very first villain, which is the one who enslaved Kaze. I've decided that Kaze got kidnapped when he was like a child, a preteen-ish, instead of being captured as like a baby and being raised there. That was one of the things that was like, I need to make a decision on this if I'm gonna start writing the book. So I know what I'm doing, which is good. It's good to know what you're doing. I'm gonna write them escaping and Kaze facing off against the first villain. That's gonna be fun. And then after that, you know, the journey begins. It's Aki and Kaze trying to leave the city for the rest of the book. There's a bunch of wanted posters that get put up, so they have to be very, like, sneaky about it. Not that I would ever describe Aki as very sneaky. That's why he needs Kaze, really. The first half of this book is just gonna be Kaze being like, how are you alive? Like, how did you make it this far? He's not very good at, like, staying still. I gave him ADHD, basically. I don't normally, like, think about giving my characters ADHD. I just sort of write them and then it happens. So he accidentally got ADHD'd and now he's really bad at doing anything stealthy, which is gonna be great when you kind of need to be in hiding so you don't get got. Okay, I've decided what I'm gonna call this project until I come up with an actual title. I'm gonna call it Project Storm. There's a lot of stormy vibes in this book, not just because it's a thriller, but it's just kinda gloomy, you know? I've named the land Chrysalism. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It refers to the feeling of being inside where it's safe and warm and dry when there's a thunderstorm outside. I'm trying to get that dark and stormy vibe while not leaning like evil, because storms are pretty associated with evil. There are people who have a lot of power who are corrupt, but the people in Chrysalism aren't evil themselves, so trying to steer more toward the melancholy and solemn rather than the evil. Also, I think it's a little ridiculous when the villain lives in, like, the land of evil or something. No one's gonna name their country that. They're gonna name it something pretty or strong or whatever. The whole theme of, like, corruption and propaganda is kind of a big thing for this book, more than I expected it to be. I mean, this was always going to be a book about how you treat people that aren't like you, and talking about things like fear-mongering. Not even because Aki and Kaze are queer. That happened by accident, and it's honestly perfect. That's stuff I'm excited to write about, but I'm trying to start at the first chapter and just plow on through. It's a first draft, so, like, I just want to get momentum and then keep it up. I don't want to be stopping and starting, but I am thinking like maybe I should push back the meeting between Aki and Kaze to later so we can have more time just with Aki. I don't know what I'm gonna do. My favorite game of Find the Good Lighting. I'm 3/4 done with my long fic. Hallelujah. And I do think I'm gonna go with pushing back the meeting of Kaze and Aki a bit, but because it's a first draft, I'm not good at descriptions, so I'm kind of just skipping past all of that, and I'll worry about it in the second draft. So I'm writing the meeting, and I'm trying to escape the Reaper. It's not his real name, but it's what everyone calls him. I'm gonna end this second vlog here and try to go find a microphone. I desperately need one. I used to have one like a few years ago, but it wasn't really that good and it just stopped working eventually, so I'm gonna go find another one and I'll see y'all then. Later.